G'day, I'm Patrick from Douglas Fir Design. Welcome to the Router Bits. This is called a glue joint bit. It's a router bit which is designed specifically for joining two pieces of timber with glue, as the name suggests. Especially useful for edge grain gluing like that. You could use it for end grain gluing as well, but a finger joint bit would probably be more effective for the end grain gluing. So I'm going to show how we use it with edge grain. Torcata make two sizes of this bit, so this one can be used from timber from about 12 mil thick up to 35, and this can be used on the upper end up to about 45 mil, I think. I'm going to be focusing on the smaller one today. The reason why you might want to use this joint, apart from just gluing edge grain together, is for two reasons. Mainly, it offers you a hell of a lot more surface area, probably at least twice as much surface area for the glue. The other advantage for using a joint like this is that when you glue these two together, they can't slip out of alignment in any way because of the shape that we're creating. The profile locks them in place, and I'll show you how that works. Once this bit is set correctly in the table, the beauty of it is that you don't need to change the height of it to do both sides of the timber. You do one with the face up, and you do one with the face down, and they'll match up perfectly. You need to mark the center line of your timber, which I've done using my ruler here. And then you line that up with the underside of that central tooth. Just like that. So I'll place it into the machine and set it up in the same way. I'll probably need to do some test cuts to make sure that it lines up. And once you have got one that lines up perfectly, if you save a chunk of that for later on, you can actually use that to set the height time and time again, just by holding it against the piece and making sure the height of the bit corresponds. The height of that is set, and we need to set the depth of our fence. It's pretty straightforward. You just want to line up the bearing or the furthermost blade with the fence itself. So I just set one side of the fence, and then I wiggle this to make sure that it isn't touching. It should be just missing the blade. Lock that in place, and we're ready to do a test cut. So I'm going to use my feather boards to just hold everything in place, and then we'll see how it lines up. So I've set the height for my test cut. I've marked one piece face up, one piece face down, because they'll be flipped over after we've done them. I'll run that through and see if they match up. So it's pretty good, but the piece that's face up is just slightly lower than the piece that's face down. So we're going to have to adjust that bit, but by such a small fraction. The amount that we need to adjust is actually half the distance that these are different. In actual fact, there's so little material there that I could probably sand it off, but I'm just going to give it a slight adjustment anyway, because I would like it to be perfect. So my second cut after a slight adjustment is absolutely perfect. I can barely feel that at all. And visibly, it's a really neat join. It looks fantastic and it's very easy to glue. This would be really useful in joining panels if you wanted to do solid hardwood cabinets or something like that. You could also use it for building a table, but the tables that I build are often much thicker timber and they're recycled. And if there was any variation, if there was any bowing in a long piece of timber, that joint would be a little bit harder to keep flat on the router table. So I might still use biscuits. But for something that you know your stock is dead flat, this will just keep it so nicely lined up and create a really nice strong join. These Torquata glue joint bits are really handy. They get a lot of use around here, and you can grab them from Timbecon, either online at timbecon.com.au or at either of their stores in Perth and in Melbourne.